How does it work? The electric bike, it's the best of both worlds. Electricity combined with leg power. But for them to work together, the bike has to keep them apart. The electric bike, it combines force exerted by the cyclist with the force of an electric motor. Simple? Well, not really. Even as it combines the effort of one with the power of the other to turn the wheels, the electric bike must also separate the two from each other in order to make sure the motor cannot turn the chain set as it turns the wheel. That would be dangerous for the cyclist. How can two forces be combined while being kept separate? That's the job of the freewheel, a mechanism that's both simple and ingenious at the same time. It combines while separating. But how does it work? The electric bike, the chain set, the chain, the motor, the wheel powered by the motor, and the freewheel mechanism. When the chain ring turns, it moves the chain, which moves the sprockets, which turn the wheel. The electric motor is made up of a fixed stator, it's the axle around which the wheel turns, and a rotor to which the wheel is attached. When the motor turns, the wheel turns. 3 batteries supply 36 volts to the motor. How else can the electric bike travel 50 kilometers at a speed of 25 kilometers an hour without pedaling once? The freewheel is the mechanism that separates the movement of the motor from the movement of the chain set. That way the motor can turn at one speed and the cyclist can pedal at another, or not at all. Or they can combine their respective forces. To understand more, it's time to take it apart. The stator of the motor is attached to the frame of the electric bike. It's fixed, it doesn't rotate. The rotor is the piece that moves. It turns around the stator and is attached to the rear wheel of the bike. When the rotor turns, the wheel also turns. Attached to the rotor is the first half of the freewheel mechanism. The second half is inside of the sprockets. When the chain set turns, the chain moves the sprockets. The notches at the center of the sprockets push on the pawls, 2 small mobile pieces of metal on each side of the first half of the freewheel mechanism. Since the notches push forward on the pawls, the movement of the sprockets is transmitted to the rotor, and the wheel turns. The force applied to the chain set is transmitted to the rotor, which turns the wheel thanks to the freewheel's pawls. But it's also thanks to the pawls that the rotor movement can be separated from the movement of the chain set. If the motor is operating at full power and the cyclist slows down or stops pedaling altogether, the chain no longer moves the sprockets. They come to a standstill. The rotor turns at full speed. Since the pawls are mobile, they slide along the notches, so the rotating movement of the rotor is not transmitted to the sprockets, which remain motionless. The chain doesn't move and the chain set is completely separated from the rotor movement, thanks to the freewheel mechanism. The freewheel mechanism is simple and extremely useful. It's this mechanism that's used in regular bicycles to separate the movement of the wheel from the movement of the chain set. The chain set can move the wheel, but the wheel cannot move the chain set. Without the freewheel, riders of electric bikes would have to pedal at the same speed as the motor. Hardly very restful. The freewheel, it combines forces even as it separates them from each other.